I think it's going to be a real challenge this weekend for Lowe's. The biggest challenge is just that physical conditioning, and everyone knows what it's like whenever you take a long flight. It's easy to be able just to have a bit of a struggle. You haven't been able to move freely. The air pressure is different. It's easy to get a little bit swollen up as well, and it'd be interesting to see just how his wrist is holding up as well after today's running, but certainly he's been able to put in a lot of good laps in this session.
Well, he's just done an out lap, so this is not going to be an in lap. Let's ride on board with Scott Redding.
This is the chance to finally see what this place is like at racing speed as well. You can see for Redding there, just holding second gear all the way through turns 2, 3 and 4 and down in towards 5 now as well. So this is when he starts to open it up to probably 4th gear now before he gets on the brakes down in towards 6 and 7. This is where we saw the crash obviously for Jonathan Rea earlier in the session. You can see just how much he leaned over to trail brake into 7. Key corner there, turn 7, the most important corner of the track. Leads onto that long back straight. Down in towards the back straight. Have a look at turn 8. It's a lot faster than you think, and that means that you've got to just really pick your braking point just the start of those curves for Scott Redding. Knock it back a few gears to second gear, and then you drive through here before you have to try and get yourself slowed down to first gear for one of the slowest corners of the track down in towards turn 9. Down the short chute of the back straight into 9 and 10, and then from turn 10 this is where it does start to get a lot twistier through here. Come back all the way through the first gear back into the right hander, and then you're going to short shift into second, and then you're going to hold that all the way through the left into the right of the S's. You've got another one that you're going to come back a gear then down in towards the end of the S's, and for Scott Redding now towards the end of the lap as well, opens up towards the last 2 corners. Turn 15, the 90-degree left-hander. You can see again, just you're banked over on the entry for that. You're going to run out towards the curbs, try and keep that bike now over to the left-hand side, because you're going to manhandle it across the curbs, finish off the lap and see if you're able to improve your time. Scott Redding, his fastest time at this stage, 38.7, comes across the line, and it looks like it's another 38.7 for him.
So Scott Redding in 5th position in this session. Meanwhile, up at the top of the timesheets, could be a first sub 1 minute 38 here for Toprak Razgatlioglu. He's 0.2 of a second up after 3 completed sectors. So Toprak really is finding something from nowhere. He is getting faster and faster as this session goes on, making his way past Salortha there, the local rider. Comes to the line, it is into the 1 minute 37s to 1:37.872 for Toprak Razgatlioglu. That's once again over half a second faster than anyone else has been in this session. Just seeded in FP1. Toprak really dominating in San Juan so far.
Yeah, he's keen to just show everyone just how strong he can be as that run goes on. That's Alex Lowe's bike just coming back into the pits there, but for Toprak, very keen to be able to just assert himself at this stage and give the likes of Jonathan Rea something to worry about at this point. Scott Redding's down there 5th fastest, and Scott will want to make a bit of progress on that as well. But the one thing for Redding is we saw him do his long run at the start of this session. That's what the goal is for him in free practice 2, week in, week out.
Decent pace there for Alex Lowe's, 1:38.4, his fastest in this session. Low 1 minute 39s though, and you compare that with Toprak Razgatlioglu, and the comparison is unfavourable at the moment. Toprak looking like he's got a step over everyone else, particularly on these long runs.
It certainly looks that way right now. What's key in this kind of session is though which of the tyre allocations everyone using front and rear. Are you trying to work your way through something, or are you just going to go with what you know? And that can certainly be one of the big factors. You can see Chris Ponson. Chris got in the way for Michael van der Mark in free practice 1, and he got the irk of van der Mark. Scott Redding's never afraid of letting his frustrations be known whenever he's out there on the bike, and clearly that's to be known here at Chris Ponson as well.
Well, Redding was on a really strong lap at the halfway mark as well. Had a really good first 2 sectors, and he was more or less tracking in line with Toprak's fastest time. So Redding clearly feels that there's a missed opportunity for him to make some progress on that lap. We'll see what he can do next time around.
Yeah, 5th fastest on the time screens for Scott Redding at this stage. He's just set his fastest first sector as well in this session. He's just about to come onto the back straight. He's got no traffic in front of him on this lap, so should be able to get in something nice and representative.
Yeah, second sector was really strong from Redding last time around. Michael Ruben Rinaldi also in line to improve after a single completed session. We pick up Eugene Laverty here. He's down in 17th place at the moment, but this should be a significant improvement from him. It's enough to move him into 13th place at 1:39.526. That's a little bit more like it from Eugene. 1.6 seconds away from the fastest time, but half of that is the gap between Razgatlioglu and everyone else.
Yeah, and you can see there for Laverty, he's moved within a couple of tenths of a second of van der Mark. Van der Mark just on his personal best as well. You can see the orange sectors and the timing tower on the left-hand side of the screen. So we'll see if Van der Mark's able to find any more time just to stretch himself that little bit clear of his BMW teammate.
Riding on board here with Scott Redding. He's lost a quarter of a second in that third sector alone. As I mentioned previously, another strong second sector from Scott Redding. But it's the second half of the lap where he needs to get things together if he's going to make some progress. Could still move up as high as second position here and split the difference between Razgatlioglu and Lowe. So at 45 seconds till the checkered flag falls, Redding does indeed go P2. Quarter of a second down on Toprak. That's a strong effort though from Scott, 138.118.
Yeah, and a really good last sector as well there from Redding, on the pace of anyone we've seen through the course of this session. So that bodes well for him on the Ducati as well.
Just sector 3, the start of that infield section for Redding to work on. Michael Ruben Rinaldi also making progress on the other factory Ducati. He's up into 4th position now, the number 21. Still more than half a second down on Toprak, the fastest man out there. Redding's going to go again for another lap. That'll be his last before the checkered flag falls in just 10 seconds. This is Garrett Gerloff, 7th position at the moment in this session. Not sure how much progress he'll be able to make from there. His target, Axel Bassani. Then there's a gap of almost 0.4 of a second to Jonathan Ray, who is 5th fastest. The likes of Bautista and Haslam, the two Hondas further back, also set to improve on what will be their final laps. Garrett Gerloff meets the checkered flag. He does make the progress past Bassani, but again, as I suggested, doesn't get any further than that. So it's P6 for Garrett Gerloff. It's Razgatlioglu, Redding, Lowe, Rinaldi, Ray and Gerloff as things stand. Of course, Jonathan Ray can't improve his time because he's stuck in the pit box after his crash at turn 6. But there are a couple of riders around who may be able to make an impression. This is Alvaro Bautista. As I said, both Hondas improving as things stand, and that is still the case after 2 completed sectors for Haslam and 3 completed sectors for Bautista. Bautista currently P8. Can he trouble either Bassani or Gerloff? The answer to that is no. The lap time falls away from him in the final sector. Haslam in line to improve, could move in front of the likes of Bautista, his teammate, and Isaac Vinales, who again is up in the top 10 in this session. Strong performance today from Isaac Vinales. So we'll see what Haslam can do in this final sector as Tito Rabat goes up into 11th place. That's better than we've seen from him at any other stage of this weekend so far. 139.309 for him. So it's about Haslam now to see if he can pick teammate Bautista at the end of Friday. He can indeed by a 10th of a second. 139.177 for Leon Haslam. So he's not quite able to dip into the 1:38. Andrea Locatelli is though. Locatelli's just made his way across the line, just over a second down on Razgatlioglu. Enough for P8, enough to get into the 1:38. So riders from 2nd all the way down to 8th are into the 1:38. Toprak Razgatlioglu, the only man into the 1:37s, and a decent enough performance from the Ducatis all round. That's Chaz Davies coming across the line for 6th, Rinaldi 4th, Bassani 7th, and of course Redding up in P2. So every reason to think that it's going to be another strong San Juan weekend as far as Ducati runners are concerned, but you can look no further than Toprak Razgatlioglu for who your favourite's going to be this weekend.